UFC Vegas 101, Dern versus Ribas 2 takes place this Saturday, and it feels so goddamn good to be back. Guys, I've got your quick picks coming up. Stay right here. What is going on, guys? Dino Bam Bam here with the 10-7 MMA. Happy to be back in your lives. Happy New Year's, by the way. It's 2025, as I mentioned, in the thing before this that you just watched. Hey, 2024, a great year for the UFC, a decent year for us here at the 10-7 MMA. By the way, me and DS, my co-host on this channel, both of us over 70%. You guys understand what that means? 70% is crazy in this MMA sphere. Nobody's doing that. Well, some people are doing that, but not too many, okay? We're one of the very few, and we both hit over 70%. We're not asking for Patreons. We're not asking for donations or super chats, nothing like that. We're just asking for you to press the like and subscribe button like the damn thing at the bottom says, okay? We're looking to make it 2 years in a row of over 70%, and we're trying to make this a massive year for us here at the 10-7 MMA. We're at like 600 subs right now. I think it's 601. We were at 604. I don't know what happened over this last 2-week hiatus. Somebody said, fuck you guys, and just, unsubscribed or deleted their channel. I don't know what happened, but we lost 3 subs. So we're trying to get to like 2,000, and I think we could do it. I think we can do it with your goddamn help. Anyways, do that for us, guys. Also, follow us on Instagram at the107MMA. If you guys are new to this, this is the quick picks video that we do here. I know I'm doing some talking here, but it's the first video of the year, right? I'm just trying to let you guys know what's up. These are quick hitters, a little bit of info about every fighter, my prediction, and then we move on. We do full card breakdowns. We do some betting shit with DS. He's been fucking on a tear, especially second half of last year. Yeah, man, huge year for us here at the 10-7 MMA coming up, so I hope you guys join us. But anyways, let's get into it. First fight of the night, first fight of the year, I should say. Joe Solecki, and he is taking on Nulo Alev. Guys, Joe Solecki, a veteran grappler, heavy wrestler, good takedowns, great jiu-jitsu skills. We know that about him, right? He's been around in the UFC for a while. We know what kind of fighter Joe Solecki is. He wants to get those submissions. However, he's not just one of those jiu-jitsu nerds, right? He's not a butt scooter. He's not a boring fighter. He's willing to stand and engage, and he's willing to stand and bang, and sometimes to his detriment. But Joe Solecki, a pretty good fighter overall, right? You're not going to be in the UFC for that long if you're not, a good fighter, and he's still here. Last couple fights, though, have not went his way. 2-fight losing streak. He's taken this fight on very short notice, and I don't like that for him at all. It's like 5 days notice, 6 days notice, something like that. He's taking on the Tajik Eagle, Nulo Alev. Guys, Nulo Alev, the Tajik Eagle, right? That's his nickname, obviously. Why is that his nickname? Well, he's from Tajikistan, so that fucking makes sense. The Eagle part. He looks just like Khabib Nurmagomedov. Like, physically, he looks just like him. Side profile is fucking ridiculous. When you see this guy fighting in the cage, you get that little side view, you would think it's Khabib. You would absolutely think it's Khabib. Kind of fights like him as well, right? He's undefeated like Khabib. I know he's not Dagestani, but he has that Dagestani style wrestling, right? Really strong in the clinch, really just controls his opponents when he takes them down. On the feet, he's okay. He's got a good jab. He's not he's nothing special on the feet. He does also, again, kind of have that Dagestani style where he's throwing shit just to set up the takedown. Not too much of a finisher, honestly. 7 of his 9 career wins are by decision. I expect this to be a closer fight than most people would think. I see the odds at plus 350 for Joe Solecki. That's pretty good. It's pretty good, right? Because, if you want to take a flyer on Joe Solecki, I don't blame you. I'm not doing it. I'm picking Nulo Alev to win this one by decision. I'm just saying, though, a veteran with the grappling savvy of Joe Solecki could make this a more interesting fight than the odds would indicate. But for the first fight of the year, we are going Nulo Alev by decision. Second fight of the night, second fight of the year, we've got Victoria Dudakova taking on Fatima Klein, who's at minus 800. I don't know who's making the odds. I don't know who's betting the odds to sway him this big. That's ridiculous. Fatima Klein should not be a minus 800 versus anybody in the world. I'm not saying I'm not picking her. I'm just saying that's fucking obnoxious, okay? But let's start with Victoria Dudakova. Fun striker, decent power. She's actually pretty good in this grappling as well for somebody who's considered a striker. She's got some slick BJJ. Kind of disappointed in her last outing, right? It was her first loss in the UFC. She's 2-1 now in the promotion. It's like, why would I be disappointed? Well, she lost to Sam Hughes. That's not a good look. You should not be losing a fucking Sam Page Hughes if you're somebody that's supposed to be something in this sport. So I don't really like that for her. She's taking on the fucking minus 800 Fatima Klein. High pressure grappler, decent sub skills, good ground and pound, natural finishing ability for the weight class. Her last time out was her UFC debut, and she lost to Jasmine Jasudavicius. Now she should be losing to Jasmine Jasudavicius. I just don't see how in the world you can make her a minus 800 when she's never won in the UFC. She's 0-1, and she's facing somebody that's 2-1. So the official pick is Fatima Klein. I'm not betting it at all. If anything, I would sprinkle on Victoria Dudakova if I have some extra money laying around. I do expect Fatima Klein to win this one. Just the odds are fucking bananas. Moving on. Magomed Gadzhiyazulov taking on Bruno Lopez. Magomed Gadzhiyazulov, 9-0, undefeated fighter. He's Dagestani. He's fighting out of Bahrain. Solid fighter. He starts super, super fast in fights. He's really aggressive. Then he kind of slows down as we get later into the fight. His cardio doesn't necessarily fail him. He's got decent cardio. It's just that he does slow down as we get into those second and especially those third rounds. Good takedowns. Real power on the feet. He's a big framed guy for the division. He's got some pretty bad takedown defense, though, for somebody with a name that looks like that. He's okay for an undefeated fighter. I don't imagine he stays undefeated for very long in the UFC. I don't think he's ever going to be anything special, but he's a pretty good, big, athletic, powerful dude for the division. He's taken on Bruno Lopez. Both of these guys, by the way, have fought Brenison Ribeiro. Magomed defeated Brenison Ribeiro. Bruno lost to Brenison Ribeiro on the Contender Series. Bruno is a former LFA champion, making his UFC debut, 13-1 record with a high finish rate. He's a good pressure striker, good volume. Sometimes you could draw him into a dogfight. He's got some pretty good grappling himself. He's decently well-rounded. Both of these guys really, really struggle when they're the ones that are taken down. Now, obviously saying that about Magomed, he finds a way to win the fights. He is undefeated. Same thing with Bruno, right? He only has that one loss to Ribeiro. I just expect that Magomed is going to be the one to implement the wrestling in this one, and I think that's what it's going to boil down to, right? They're both way better offensive wrestlers and grapplers than they are defensive, and I just expect that in this fight, Magomed's going to be the one shooting the takedowns earlier, and that's gonna work out for him. So Magomed by decision makes a lot of sense to me here. Minus 225 is pretty good odds. I don't mind betting that one at all. Moving on. I don't know why the hell this fight is here. I don't know why this is in the UFC, but we've got Ernesta Karakait, and she is taking on Nicole Cagliari. Ernesta, guys, she's a good striker, great movement, good point fighter. She doesn't have a ton of power. She uses her length pretty well to keep the distance. No type of grappling whatsoever. She is just a stand and poke from distance point fighter with no power. That's really all she is. She's taking on Nicole Cagliari. Decent grappler, good in the clinch, not so good with the takedowns, right? She's one of those grapplers that struggles to get the fight to the ground. But if she does get the fight to the ground, she has good control. So go figure. On the feet, she's very, very mid. This is a striker versus grappler here, but the grappler isn't so good at getting the fight to the ground. So what do you do with that, right? I'm still going to take Nicole Cagliari. I just think the plus 240 might be swaying me here. Probably shouldn't bet this fight. It's your money. Do whatever the fuck you want with it. I'm not going to bet it. It's just a poor, it's just low-level women's MMA. But I will take the dog in Nicole Cagliari here. And I believe that's my first dog of the year. So, hey, we're keeping track of those things here at D107 MMA. So I'm trying to stay undefeated on dogs for the year. I did really well with women's MMA and really well with underdogs last year. Anyways, enough tooting my own horn. All right, guys. Sorry for the hard cut. Technical difficulties. All right, technical difficulties. Anyways, we've got Preston Parsons taking on Jacoby Smith. Preston Parsons, guys, a good grappler, good sub skills. He's a BJJ black belt. On the feet, he's willing to exchange, kind of like I was talking about earlier with Joe Solecki, right? He's willing to do that, but he's not as good on the feet as Joe Solecki is. He really doesn't have too much on the feet besides his long frame. If he can get a takedown, he can control you, he can sub you. He's really damn dangerous. His whole thing is if he can't get the fight to the ground, he shouldn't be beating anybody in the UFC in 2025. It feels weird to say that, but we are in 2025. But on the ground, like I said, nasty jiu-jitsu, crazy sub skills. He is always liable for a Hail Mary. Don't count him out kind of thing. And he is taking on Jacoby Smith, who I absolutely love, man. He's taking this fight on short notice, just a couple of days. But I'm really impressed with this kid's film. I love his style. In the face, he kind of looks like Aljo, and his fight style is sort of similar to Aljo, right? He's a very heavy wrestler, but he's a lot more aggressive. Great ground and pound. A really powerful kid with good wrestling, solid cardio. On the feet, he's kind of green, but he's really damn athletic. He's really damn, just like, you could tell he has natural raw power. The way he throws his punches, they just look really heavy. And while he is green and working on it, he's working out of two of the best gyms in the entire world. He's working out of AKA and Fortis MMA. So being a kid with that much natural talent, who's, not as refined as, he's young, right? But he's not as refined, working out of those two gyms, unbelievable places for him to be. I'm really, really confident in this kid. I think the future looks bright. So I'm going Smith here. I think he's legit. I think he's the better fighter on the feet. I think he's the way stronger fighter when it comes to the grappling, and I mean physically stronger. I think he finds himself a finish here. I don't know if it comes on the feet or with ground and pound, but I do think he gets a TKO. I think he's going to beat up Preston Parsons. He's going to hurt him and then eventually finish him. I'll say round 2 TKO for Jacoby Smith. Moving on, we've got Thiago Moises, and he's taking on Trey Ogden. Guys, Thiago Moises, man, all the skill in the world, but he never really became the fighter we thought he would be, right? And me saying this to you guys makes you think he's 34, 35 years old and he's past his prime. But every time I see how young the guy is, he's 29 years old. It's absolutely crazy to me. Good jab, good movement, great leg kicks. Obviously a stupidly dangerous grappler with great jiu-jitsu skills. Last time out, he looked bad though, right? He fought Ludovic Klein. Besides that fight, his losses have all come to really, really high-level competition. Benoit Saint-Denis, Joel Alvarez, who is an absolute monster, as we all, learned a couple weeks ago. He took Islam Makhachev into the 4th, Damir Ismagulov, Benil Dariush, like a ridiculous strength of schedule for Thiago Moises. And at 29 years old, I would hate to say it's over. I would hate to say that. So hopefully me, having those thoughts, hopefully I'm wrong, but he's taking on Trey Ogden. He's just a really, really long-bodied grappler, good sub skills, solid takedowns, surprisingly good power in his hands. A lot of these lanky guys, they can generate a ton of power, right? You think of Sean O'Malley, you think of dudes like that, and they just have a lot of natural power in them from just being so damn long. Pause. Anyway, surprisingly, I don't see this fight staying on the feet too much. To me, Trey Ogden has way more power on the feet, and I think that's going to give problems to Thiago Moises. And I just don't think that Thiago Moises is the fighter that we once thought he was, or the fighter that we once knew, I should say, because he really was that guy for a while. Ogden is dangerous. I can see him winning this fight by hurting Thiago Moises. I think he'll even be able to take him down if he wants to. I don't know that he will. I think he'll just stay at range, pick and prod at him, and I think he gets a decision win. It's tough to finish Thiago Moises. I'm going to go plus money here on Trey Ogden by decision. Maybe I'll bet it. I'm not 1,000% sure, but I like Trey Ogden in this one a lot, guys. Anyways, moving on. We've got Marco Tulio. Shoot the box. Shout out Shoot the box. He is taking on Ihor Potieria, who everybody hated at some point, early on in his UFC career because he beat Shogun, but turns out he's a nice guy. He's a fun fighter. Anyways, Marco Tulio, Shoot the box debutant here. Decently well-rounded fighter, guys. Good striker, decent volume, solid power, good leg kicks. He's got some solid submission skills as you would expect coming out of that gym. Pretty good ground and pound. He's just an okay, well-rounded 185er/205er, right? Like, nothing is going to stand out about Marco Tulio. I know he gets a lot of hype from a lot of the Brazilians, on the regional scene, and the people at his gym obviously hype him up. But to me, Marco Tulio he's very solid, but that's all he is. He's just solid at everything. I don't see a glaring weakness, but I don't see anything that makes me think, man, this guy's going to be a top contender. Just the definition of solidly well-rounded. He is taking on Ihor Potieria. a fun kickboxer, a fun style, good power, very, very good and dangerous offensively on the feet. But defensively, he's very, very damn poor. He's flashy, he's dynamic, but he's way too willing to get hit, guys. It really bothers me. He's like the Timu / generic version of Yuri Prohashka. If you've never seen this guy fight, he's the poor man's Yuri, right? Cardio and defense have failed this guy in the past a couple of times, but again, he is very dangerous, so I never would count him out of a fight. We saw some good wrestling out of him last time out, so it seems like he's improving. I got to assume this is Ihor Potier's last fight on his contract, so I think he needs a win to stay in the promotion, and this is just me guessing. I don't know this for a fact, but fuck, it's hard to pick Ihor Potieria, and it's hard to pick against him. For the official pick, I got to go Marco Tulio by decision. I'm staying away from betting it, and again, if I was going to bet, and I'm not telling you guys to bet, again, this is a lot of dogs, but if I were to bet, I would sprinkle on Potieria, but the official pick is Marco Tulio by decision. You can't comfortably bet when Ihor Potieria is involved. Moving on to the next fight of the night, we've got Jose Johnson. He has taken on Felipe Nunes. Guys, Jose Johnson, a really, really long-bodied striker, great Muay Thai skills. He uses his jab and his kicks very well. He uses his length very well to stay at range and just kind of keep his opponents away from him, right? And that's the way he has to win fights, because when it comes to the grappling, Jose Johnson, not very good, right? Terrible takedown defense, kind of looks lost on the ground. So what do? We put him up against the BJJ black belt here and Felipe Nunes, super damn aggressive grappler, great submission skills, always looking to take the fight to the ground. When he gets it to the ground, he's really good with the submissions. On the feet, Felipe Nunes is pretty competent, right? He's relentless as hell. His pressure, he's always moving forward. He's not moving forward just to, stay in the pocket and trade with you. He's trying to get takedowns, but again, guys, I don't see minus 180 here for Jose Johnson. I get it. He's tall. I guess he's pretty dangerous. To me, he has two ways of winning this fight. It's either A, knocking out Felipe Nunes early before Nunes is able to take him down, or B, winning a flawless 15-minute stand-up fight where he can just stay at range and kind of pick and prod at him and just, make it a boring striking fight. I just don't see that happening. I don't think he finds an early knockout, and I don't think he can fight flawlessly for 15 minutes. So for me, even though Jose Johnson is pretty dangerous with his long ass frame, I think Felipe Nunes is eventually going to find himself a takedown. And once he does, we're in his world, and Jose Johnson is going to be lost. So for me, I think Felipe Nunes gets it done in either the late first or early in the second. Give me Felipe Nunes round 2. RNC submission. Okay, guys, calling it here. RNC. I think he's going to take him down, take the back, choke his long ass out, and we are moving on. Anyways, next fight of the night, Puna Hele Soriano versus Uroš Medic. Puna Hele Soriano, nasty knockout power, guys. Really, really nasty, heavy-handed fucking fighter. Actually a pretty good grappler, right? Doesn't get mentioned enough when we're talking about Puna because you just think he's a boxer. He's got a great wrestling background. He mixes it in sometimes when he needs to. Recent fights, he's shown better cardio. He's shown better use of his wrestling, kind of trying to neutralize his opponents. He's become a smarter fighter as he's aging, and I like seeing that from Puna because I'm a big fan. And he has taken on Uroš Medic, an aggressive striker, really, really high finishing rate. Diverse as hell when he's on the feet, right? Different types of attacks, spinning shit, dangerous, loopy shit. Like Uroš Medic throws it all. He's fun as hell to watch on the feet. He's so dangerous early in the fight. He's one of those guys, right? I don't want to compare him to a Terrence McKinney, but just showing that he has that ability to finish fights like dangerously early. As we move on, it might fade a little bit. I'm not saying he's Terrence McKinney, but he's dangerous as hell at the beginning is all I'm trying to say, okay? So Puna Hele Soriano could and probably should use his wrestling in this fight, to slow Uroš Medic down because he's not all that on the ground. He's very average. I just don't know that he's going to be able to. I think Uroš Medic comes out fast as hell. I think he comes out swinging, and I think he finds himself a knockout in the first round. So give me Uroš Medic round 1 KO. Now, this fight, I'm really interested in. If you're a UFC fan, if you're a diehard MMA fan, you know what's up with this fight, all right? Because we've got the undefeated contender coming to us off of Dancing with the Stars, a.k.a. Dana White's Contender Series, Austin Basi. He's well-rounded as hell, guys. Really good grappler, really good striker, young undefeated fight. He's more of a grappler than a striker, but this kid is so damn well-rounded. It's rare you see somebody this young coming into the UFC with an undefeated record that looks pretty flawless, right? I'm not saying he's the next world champ, but I'm just saying this kid is really legit and the sky really is the limit for him. Super, super talented, obviously unproven. Seeing him at minus 305 is crazy to me because he's taking on Christian Rodriguez, who only fights these kind of guys, right? The UFC, they see a new prospect at 135 or 145. They're like, holy shit, this guy looks amazing. Give him to fucking Christian Rodriguez. And C-Rod has basically made a career these last few years out of beating guys like that, right? Raul Rosas and fucking the kid from South Africa. I forget his Cameron Simon. Like, just a bunch of those dudes. That's all he fights. I don't know what he did to deserve that, but they gave him another one. And C-Rod himself is young. He's like 28 years old. But anyways, guys, experience at this point, right? Christian Rodriguez, a ton of UFC experience. Proven track record at a high level, proven track record against guys like this, guys like Austin Bashi coming in with a shiny record, undefeated, big hopes and aspirations, and he wins most of those damn fights. He's really good on the ground. He's pretty good on the feet. What's not to love about Christian Rodriguez, right? The difference here for me in this one is I think Austin Bashi is better than those guys. I think he's better than Cameron Simon. I think he's better than Raul Rosas. And that's saying a lot because I think really highly of Raul Rosas. I think he's better than Isaac Dulgarian. I think he's better than a lot of these dudes. And I think we're going to see that here. Minus 305 seems about right. I'm going Austin Bashi by decision. I'm pretty confident in it. Again, you have to also factor in that this is Christian Rodriguez coming up to 145, right? We know when he's fought those dudes at 135, he missed weight. He missed weight, and a lot of people think on purpose to be bigger than to be bigger than those dudes. At 145, he's not going to miss weight. And if he does, that's huge problems for him. So give me Austin Bashi by decision. Really interested to see him. I think he can be what Peyton Talbot was for us last year in 2025. Moving on, we've got Chris Curtis taking on Roman Kopylov. Guys, Chris Curtis coming back after a super long layoff injury last year in like March or April. He tore something in his knee, I believe. But anyways, Chris Curtis, a technical striker, right? Great counter striker, as we know. Great defensive, great takedown defense is what I wanted to say. But he's just a good fighter, man. A great veteran, tough, good power, stays calm in the pocket, outpoints his opponents. He's just well-rounded as hell. Good footwork, good jab. Like, again, there's nothing to not like about Chris Curtis. I guess if there was a criticism, it would be, bro, use your wrestling. He has this good wrestling in his back pocket that he never uses. He wants to be a defensive fighter. Maybe that's from all the sparring he's done with Sean Strickland. I don't know. But I just wish he had utilized his wrestling more throughout his career. And the dude's like 37 years old, 38 years old now. So he ain't fucking changing. He's taking on Roman Kopylov, an aggressive striker, serious knockout power, really good combinations, high pressure, dangerous as hell, man. He's the Russian Chase Hooper looking guy, if you didn't know. In the past, he struggled with takedowns, which is why I was saying that Chris Curtis should be trying to take this fight to the ground, but I don't think he's going to do that. His striking is elite. He is going to be the better striker than Chris Curtis, and I imagine this fight takes place on the feet for 15 minutes. Got to pick the guy who I think is a better striker, and to me, that's Roman Kopylov. So I am going Roman Kopylov, round 2 TKO. I know Chris Curtis has been very hard to finish throughout his career. I just think that Roman Kopylov has a different kind of power, and I think Curtis, after a long layoff in the injury, not going to be the same Chris Curtis we knew. So Roman Kopylov by TKO. I'm going to change it to round 3, not round 2. Yeah, that's what I got. Next fight of the night, we've got Abdul Razak Alhassan, and he is taking on Cesar Almeida. Guys, Abdul Razak Alhassan, thick-bodied, powerful striker, just like stupid power, crazy knockout power, explosive as hell, aggressive as hell. He's down as shit to stand and trade. And he's really good in the clinch, right? He comes from a judo background. His name on Instagram or social media, I don't know if it still is, but for the longest was like Judo Razak or some shit like that. It was talking about his judo. He was like a very high level, international level judo player. just doesn't use it too much, right? Just kind of like we were talking about with Chris Curtis, just does not use his judo as much as he needs to, but he's heavy as hell. He's fast as hell. He's powerful as hell. Struggles when the fight gets beyond that first round, though, right? Anytime you see a guy that thick, that massive, kind of short, stocky build, you know his cardio is not going to last. And his cardio kind of fails him. So if you could take him to deep waters, you could definitely beat Abdul Razak Alhassan. He has taken on Cesar Almeida. Cesar Almeida is a elite world-class kickboxer, guys. He has a win over Alex Poatan Pereira, this guy who has us blocked on Instagram, so you should go follow us there and click the subscribe button to make us feel better, okay? But yeah, he has a win over Alex Pereira, and that's really his deal, right? Like, think about the archetype. What does that mean? You come in from kickboxing. Think of Alex Pereira. What's his archetype? He's really damn good on the feet. He's dangerous as hell, and then people are like, hey, we got to take him down to beat him. It's probably what you got to do with Cesar Almeida. He's not got great takedown defense. He's okay at getting up when he has been taken down, but he's going to be a very, 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 very dangerous person for anybody he's fighting in MMA that isn't a strict wrestler, right? And Abdul Razak Alhassan, while he has some wrestling and he has that really high level judo, I don't think judo is going to help him in this one. Number one, he doesn't use it as often as he needs to. And number two, even if he wanted to, judo isn't like shooting for the legs, right? It's not very safe. You have to get in close. And this is just not a guy you want to get close on. I think Cesar Almeida is going to starch him in the first round. I think Abdul Razak Alhassan is going to come out aggressive. I think he's going to get clipped. I like minus 300 a lot. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening. What a weird-ass card where you have these guys as the co-main event. But anyways, it is Santiago Ponzinibbio taking on Mozambique Carlston Harris. Santiago Ponzinibbio, well-rounded striker, guys. Heavy hands, good knockout power. Really precise striker. Stays safe as hell, right? Like lands his punches from range, gets into the pocket, exchanges, and gets the hell out. I've always liked that a lot about Santiago Ponzinibbio, a veteran of this game, a staple of the division. I'm glad to see him keep going here. Because with him and guys like Dominic Cruz, who just got a fight announced, good luck to Dominic Cruz. But for these guys that are now announcers in the UFC, right? Mike Chiesa has a fight coming up. You don't know like how invested they are in MMA anymore, right? You're 37, 38 years old, whatever they are. You're making your money doing this. It's a lot easier. It's a lot less stressful than fucking training every day and getting your ass whooped. So that's kind of my question mark with Santiago Ponzinibbio. How focused, how locked in on fighting is he? Is this the last fight of his career? Who knows? He's taking on Carlston Harris, who is no spring chicken himself. I believe they're the same age. Carlston Harris, long-bodied, very dangerous fighter. Carlston Harris is a weird case for me, right? Because I don't think he's like a spectacular fighter, but he's super damn dangerous in the striking and the grappling and the submission skills, right? And then if you ask somebody like, hey, what makes a good MMA fighter? Like knockout ability, submission ability, like he has both of those things. He's just like, he's solid. He's just nobody special. Very well-rounded. Like I said, long body, dangerous as hell. I think when you weigh it skill for skill, I think Santiago Ponzinibbio is a better fighter, especially prime for prime. I don't know if that's the case right now, but there's not really much to judge off, right? Like both of these dudes are old. They're both declining quickly. So I have to go with what I know. And I know that Santiago Ponzinibbio has been a guy that's been in the top 10 forever. And Carlston Harris has not, right? So the pick is Santiago Ponzinibbio by decision. I think minus 120 solid. I don't blame you at all for going Carlston Harris, the more dangerous fighter, at plus 100. I don't want to involve myself with betting on this fight. I just want to watch it and be done with it, to be honest with you. But yeah, just a weird fight. I'm taking Santiago Ponzinibbio by decision. And finally, we move on to the main event of the evening. And it is a rematch, right? We got Mackenzie Dern taking on Amanda Ribas 2. She's not taking on Amanda Ribas 2 as well. It's just the second time these ladies have fought. And the first time, Amanda Ribas dominated the dog shit out of Mackenzie Dern, okay? So let's break it down. Mackenzie Dern, a submission specialist, as we know, guys, world-class. And I mean fucking world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills. And while her striking has improved, that's not saying much because her striking was dog shit to begin with. It's like slightly less dog shit now. Still pretty fucking dog shit. She's looking to get this fight to the ground. She doesn't have good wrestling, so she can't get it to the ground. But if somehow, by God's grace, we end up on the ground and Mackenzie Dern is there with you, she could probably choke your ass out or find a limb, sub you in some way. But in the first fight, Amanda Ribas took her down and had no issues. So who knows, right? Amanda Ribas, very well-rounded fighter, solid striker, excellent grappling. She's looked so fast in the stand-up as of late. It's been like surprising. Like it pops on film. Her last few fights, she looks fucking dangerously fast. Even if she's losing and getting touched the fuck up, she just looks a lot faster than she used to be. Solid striker, like I said, just a really high fight IQ with Amanda Ribas. I don't see too many weaknesses in her game, to be honest with you. She could maybe struggle. Like, you know, if Mackenzie Dern's able to take her back, obviously that's somewhere she could struggle. But that's not because of her. That's because of Mackenzie Dern's specialty, right? The way I see it is, what the fuck has Mackenzie Dern done since the first fight, you know, to now? Nothing has changed. It's the same Mackenzie Dern. She's a little better in the striking. She's a little better in the, you know, the wrestling. But Amanda Ribas has evolved tenfold since the last time they fought. So again, Mackenzie Dern always liable for a submission, but minus 218, Amanda Ribas is like free cheese here, man. And of course I say that, and Mackenzie Dern's going to choke her ass out. But yeah, I'm going Amanda Ribas by decision. It just makes sense to me. I think Mackenzie Dern will have moments. I think she might have a round or two in this fight where she gets a dominant position and doesn't let it go. But I just think for the most part, Amanda Ribas is definitely going to control this fight on the feet, and she may control some time on the ground as well. So anyways, guys, that is it. That is UFC Vegas 101, Dern versus Ribas 2, the quick picks. And I'm sorry for the cuts and shit. You know, we're working on some stuff. It's the first video of the year. Cut your boy some fucking slack, okay? Anyways, as I said, do us a favor. Like and subscribe. We're trying to hit that 2,000 mark. And I promise you guys, we're going to be putting in so much damn work this year. We got fighter interviews lined up. We're going to like 3 cards this year. We're going to be dropping tons of content. This is the year at V107 MMA. I feel like last year we hit 70%, both of us, on our picks, 70%. And we didn't get the recognition we deserve for that. We didn't get the recognition we deserve for that. But that shit changes this year. New year, new me. I tore my Achilles last year. We're not fucking doing that again. We're also doing the 10-7 MMA weight loss challenge. So holla at your boys and lose some fucking pounds with us. Anyways, guys, follow us on Instagram at the10-7 MMA. Next week, UFC 311. We got Islam and Arman Sarukian, Marab versus Umar, Yuri versus Jamal Hill, Benil and Moicano. Absolutely stacked card. We're going to be doing a video with Pro Schmo Bets, okay? So check that out. That collab video is going to be pretty badass. Anyways, guys, my name is Dino Bam Bam. This is the 10-7 MMA. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.